Welcome back to Marvel March, ladies and gentlemen. And here we are, guys. We have finally made it to what this has ultimately all been building up to, which is the Avengers. Or I think Avengers Assemble in some other countries.
It is called Avengers Assemble in other countries.
But this movie was a huge deal when it was coming out because nothing like this had ever really happened in cinema before.
Not since the monster crossover movies back in the 40. When were those? Anyways, back then, long ass time ago.
And but like the superheroes crossing over like this, nobody ever thought it was possible. And by God, the Madmans did it.
They've done it. They've actually done it.
And did it pay off? Yeah, because my God, not only did this movie make what, $1 shit-tillion, it made a lot of money.
Yeah, for the time.
I think it was the first superhero movie to make. No, the second superhero movie to make $1 billion. I think
this one actually did break $1 billion.
Yeah, the first Avengers broke $1 billion.
That makes sense.
I think the only other superhero movie that made $1 billion up to this point was The Dark Knight. Yes,
this is believable.
But it was also, everybody loved this movie.
Yeah, no, I saw it at least twice. Did I see it a third time? I know I saw it twice.
I saw it. In initial run, I saw it 3 times. Then I saw it a 4th time in a double feature with Age of Ultron, when Age of Ultron first came out.
That doesn't count. That's like a whole different ticketing.
Fuck you. Point is, I saw this movie multiple times in the theaters, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, no, it was a fun time.
I would say let's talk about the build-up to what we already have.
Yes, we have. It's a 5-movie build-up, which is crazy.
Yeah. It all built up to this. So, if you guys remember in Thor, Loki just kind of fell into a portal that was just floating in space. Well, he met somebody.
Aww.
Somebody kind of really, really bad. And this bad person was like, go get the Tesseract for me, and I won't kill you.
Well, with those options.
There's more to it than that. Obviously, Loki's a bit of a narcissist. And he's like, I can rule over the ants of humanity? Cool! Ants have no quarrel with boots, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely not. No, but the setting aside the fact that he is being forced to do it, it's crazy that Loki is basically the main villain of this movie.
I mean, he is and he isn't.
No, he's got a hand on his shoulder, but functionally he's the main villain, which is interesting.
He's what they have to deal with, but there is someone bossing around who we will get to at the end, because this blew everybody's mind back in the day.
Yep. No, but in retrospect, though, it's also Loki might have been under the influence of the scepter. I know he was holding it, but
in hindsight, when you find out what's in that scepter, because this movie doesn't tell you that.
No,
it's just like, where did he get this scepter from? Well, which we'll talk more about at the end. But he takes over Hawkeye, who we forgot to mention. Hawkeye was in the Thor movie.
Yes, we did.
For all of a second.
It was very brief.
But the Avengers lineup in this movie, Cody, who do we have?
Everybody. Sorry. Obviously, we got Iron Man. We got Cap. We got Thor. We got Hulk.
Who is now played by Mark Ruffalo instead of Edward Norton, who, just like with Rhodey and Iron Man 2, going back to Hulk is weird because it's been Mark Ruffalo in every other movie.
Also, we got Black Widow and Hawkeye.
Yeah. Who, at least Black Widow had a role in Iron Man 2.
Yes, she was much more prominent than
Hawkeye was literally just there in Thor. Like, so much there that I forgot to mention him in the Thor review.
It is so brief.
But you've got everybody set up. Actually, I forgot until rewatches how long it takes for Thor to show up.
Yeah, it's not until things are sort of getting taken care of with Loki. Obviously, he's not relevant until then. You know what's interesting though? That the mind control in this, it's very interesting that the characters maintain their personalities despite being
and all their memories.
Yeah, no, it's like you could still see their themselves. That's not usually how mind control works in most other things.
No, it's usually they're just like a vessel for who's controlling them. Like, if that makes sense. But no, yes. He's still Hawkeye.
We also got, I know she's always a side character, but Maria Hill, this is the first time she shows up.
Yes.
Despite always being a side character, she does remain important.
No, she's cool. She's played by the girl from How I Met Your Mother, whose actress's name I cannot remember.
Kobe Smulders.
I was never a fan of How I Met Your Mother, so sue me. But
You bastard. That's one of my favorite shows.
well, couldn't get into it. I'm not going to say why because I'm not going to get into my personal life.
Okay.
But that intro scene where you're setting up Loki and Nick Fury, and that was an intense opening scene where the Tesseract pulls him in, and then you have the Black Widow just beating up those Russian people, and then
Yep.
I thought it was an interesting choice to have the first one they recruit be the Hulk.
Yeah, I think that was probably partially because the recast, just sort of get it out of the way. But they had also, I think they did a good job in the order they introduced the characters at the beginning. Like you set up Hawkeye first because first off, let's introduce him finally, and and then obviously all the side characters, and then you get Black Widow recruiting Bruce, new Bruce. There was no joke about the like, here's my new face thing.
They just brush over it. You would think the first person they recruit would be Tony Stark because that's who we all got introduced to first.
But aside from Thor showing up later, Stark's the last one you see, and I think that was the right choice.
No, it was. But, they have Bruce Banner's introduction, which was actually kind of funny because he's clearly got the Hulk thing under control, but he's still like, what if the other guy says no?
Well, I think it's basically if he gets shot at, he's gonna turn.
Well, he was like, listen, you can do that, or Hulk is just gonna kill everybody here. So let's not do that. And she's like, okay. And then you have that scene from the post-credits scene of Captain America, but the full scene now.
Yeah, and so there's some dialogue that I think it was actually missing. It's a slightly different cut, but it's the same scene.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, hey, can you tell us about the Tesseract? She left in the ocean. And then you get Tony Stark's intro.
Yep. And him and Pepper are like fully together now.
I thought he lived in Malibu. Why is he in New York now?
These rich guys, they move around.
I mean, he's Iron Man. He can just be wherever the hell he wants, I guess.
He still has that house. We'll
I think up to this point in the MCU, he is the only well-known superhero because Hulk's kind of under the radar. Thor was there once, and Captain America was just unthawed. So worldwide, he's probably the only one that people know of.
I mean, Cap is definitely known, but he's probably not thought of anymore. He's a sort of vintage hero. Like people
don't know he's back type of thing. Yeah,
that exactly.
So if we're talking about just in terms of the lore, he's probably the only one people know because he's Tony Stark and he's a bit full of himself.
Which is kind of crazy after finding out gods are real.
Did he know gods were real at that point?
No. No, people. I don't know how public that would have been because that was kind of in the middle of a nowhere, small town sort of. And
I mean, really, Thor wasn't there very long.
No, I don't know if that was very public.
I don't think it was, but I do like how they don't brush over the fact that he didn't qualify. They do actually reference it.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like, yeah, I thought I didn't qualify. Things have changed.
This is a bit more important, and they make Coulson a hell of a lot more important in this one too.
Yes, we'll get back to that. So then, you have Bruce Banner and Captain America meeting for the first time on the helicarrier, and Captain America straight up is like, "I don't care that you're a rage monster. I don't care. You're not going to hurt me, right? Right?"
Actually, some of the best moments in this movie are just the character interactions. Just the what would normally be a mundane conversation. It's just them
being together is crazy.
Which we'll see that in another crossover later. That's the best part of a movie. Sometimes is just these characters interacting with each other.
Yes, it is. So Cap is the first one to go toe to toe with Loki. First thing, that eyeball scene is fucking brutal.
Yeah,
because you don't see what's going on, but you can tell he yanked the dude's eye out, and it's ugh.
Yeah.
But Cap is getting his ass kicked. It's kind of unfair. Granted,
yeah, a little. Considering he's going up against a literal god, it's not. He's doing all right.
But then Iron Man shows up, one blast, done.
Well, okay, well. To be fair, Loki was being a little deceptive here.
Yeah, no, he was. But that's not the only time Iron Man takes him out, though, in this movie.
No, this movie is such a good balancing act just between character screen time and what the characters are able to do with their own abilities, despite being at totally different levels.
Well, that was a good. That was something because really, if you look at their power scales, Thor's just be able to beat the shit out of everybody.
It should be,
but we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, that's.
I do like Tony Stark and Steve Rogers' first interaction, Mr. Stark, Captain.
Well, the thing that's interesting about them paired up is that they're so different.
They really are. And then, they're just having banter back and forth. Oh, Fury didn't tell me you were calling you in. Yeah, there's a lot Fury doesn't tell you. Like, it's almost like Cap doesn't register that Nick Fury's not being 100% honest with them, and Tony Stark's like, no, dude, he's full of shit.
Yep.
But Stark knows what he's talking about.
No, and this is why you need both sides of the... This is why these characters work so well together.
Oh, and then we were talking about, this is where Thor finally shows up, and Iron Man's first instinct, I'm gonna go fight that guy.
I like, then don't take my stuff, referring to Loki.
I have a plan. Attack. Oh, the scene with Thor and Loki talking, Loki says a line to Thor that I still use in real world dialogue to this day. So, Loki, they're talking about how Thor is like the protector of Earth, blah, blah, blah. He's like, you listen here, brother. And Iron Man knocks him away. And Loki's like, I'm listening.
Yep.
So people say to me, listen. I'm like, I'm listening. But that scene, the fight scene between Thor and Iron Man is actually a pretty cool fight.
Oh, yeah. And I love the way the Cap just comes in
well,
and
honestly,
ends it.
You would think that Thor would just smash Iron Man because he should. No.
Don't.
Thor powered up his suit.
Yeah, the power at 400% capacity. How's that work?
Well, how about that? Because you can't just have Iron Man get his ass kicked. You need to put them all on equal footing.
I like it when they're fighting, like you just see Loki sitting up on the hill, just like watching it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, the you want me to put the hammer down?
And then it's Cap's shield, and then just shockwave.
And again, it's just like don't underestimate Stark's suit. Do not underestimate the vibranium shield because holy crap,
dude! But then the scene where Iron Man finally gets on the helicarrier is just one of the best scenes ever. He's just breaking down every little equation, and starts scanning all of Shield's bullshit because he does not trust Nick Fury at all. Rightfully so.
Yeah, I like it. He's the one. Yeah, he's not trusting Nick. But you know what really seems to go unnoticed a lot is Cap is the only one noticing that there is something wrong with what Loki is doing. Yes.
What bugged me about this run, Steve was openly antagonizing Tony for almost no reason.
It's implied that the Scepter was responsible for this.
That's true. But, Stark's not really antagonizing Cap at all. He's just like, I'm smarter than you, bro. Because, well, he is.
Yeah. But, no, there is a shot, though, that's, like, really focuses on the Mind Stone where everybody's arguing. Whoop. I jumped ahead. Ignore that. Really focuses on the Scepter when everybody's fighting.
You fucked up.
No, it focuses on the Scepter when everybody's fighting, and it sort of implies that it works like a Horcrux, makes everybody angry.
It is a lot like a Horcrux. It did remind me of Ron in Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Yep, it's actually, but it's crazy that if it works like that Vision ends up coming out so well balanced.
It's because he's Jarvis.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll get to that in Age of Ultron.
Okay, sorry, jumped a few things there though.
But also, Tony Stark is constantly trying to provoke Bruce Banner to turn into the Hulk, which is a really stupid idea.
I think he knows he's not going to, but he's also just curious about the science behind it and how it even works.
But because we see that Hulk on the helicarrier, not the best thing. But Nick Fury makes a good point. Why do I feel like Loki's the only one on the ship who wants to be here?
Okay, so Cap talks about it a few times, I think, before Fury says that.
Well, then Bruce Banner's like, let's not focus on Loki. That guy's mind is a bag full of cats.
Yeah, that's what keeps happening. So you're right. Fury does also notice it. But so Cap and Fury are seeing that there's something wrong with what's going on with Loki, and everybody else is just ignoring it.
Well, Cap says on the ship, when him and Stark are talking, I don't remember it being that easy.
Yeah, exactly. So like right away, he's like, "There's something wrong." It's you just this is why I mean you get the jokes about how Cap's unfamiliar with the world, so it makes him come off as stupid. But then you get stuff like that, which is like, "Oh no, this guy knows what he's talking about."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then he's got that insanely quoted line. I understood that reference,
Mm-hmm.
dude. I swear, every time somebody references something in any comment,
It's
it's
now
that.
I understood that reference. That's exactly what it is.
And you got Thor's he's adopted.
That was a great line. I love how they don't just throw away how he got there. Like, Odin had to use dark magic to get Thor there because we didn't even mention Thor destroyed the Bifrost in the
No,
Thor
no,
movie.
you did. You said it.
Did I? Okay, cool.
You did.
Excellent. But yeah, Thor destroyed the Bifrost, so Odin had to use dark magic to get him there.
Yep.
Anyway, so eventually Bruce Banner does Hulk out because of course he does. And Loki gets the upper hand on everybody because he knew what he was doing. He manipulated the whole thing because he, again, is a narcissist. He wanted to piss everybody off and get an audience in New York City because New York City has to have monsters destroyed. That's just how cinema works.
It really is.
Cloverfield, King Kong, Avengers, anything else. Godzilla.
All the time. Sorry, you talked about how he does obviously end up hulking out, and you know what's funny is I have never liked the redesign ever. People used to praise it, but they're finally starting to come around to the 2008 version, which I've always preferred.
I don't care one way or the other.
I don't I just it bugs me. He just looks like I don't know like a troll. He didn't come off as an intimidating muscly beast. He comes off like a troll in this redesign, and it's always bugged me.
Well, I don't see it, but you're an asshole.
Well, this is true, and this is why we're friends.
So Thor and Hulk fight, and since Thor's the only one who can really stand a chance, but eventually there's that chamber that they have Loki in because that was like a defense mechanism. If the Hulk came out, he was gonna launch him out. But Thor is launched out of that thing. Coulson gets killed. We didn't even mention that Coulson's a fucking Cap fanboy.
Oh yeah, no, I think they did that that thing with setting him up as a Cap fanboy to sort of make him more personable because he's sort of nerds out over Cap.
It's a vintage set.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, there's the
trading
cards. When Natasha's talking to Cap right after he gets on the helicarrier, she's like, "Has he asked you to sign his Captain America trading cards yet?" And he goes, "Captain America trading cards." And then the next scene, you don't actually hear Coulson say it, but you know that that's what he just asked him.
If it's not too much trouble, no, it's fine. Yep. It's a vintage set.
It's funny.
Or the Galaga. We didn't even mention the Galaga line.
That man is playing Galaga.
Which I guess Robert Downey Jr. just improv'd.
And then they edited it in, yeah. That's what they said.
When did you become an expert on that last night?
Yeah, but you know, that whole thing about improv, I don't trust it anymore because half the time that things say that, it's just completely not true.
But I also think Robert Downey Jr. just does that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's believable. Anyway, so yeah, Coulson does die, which may or may not be canonically permanent because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I don't know. That I can't say whether that show's canon because it fits for a lot of it, but once you get to Infinity War, that show doesn't fit anymore. So I don't know if Coulson is alive or not.
Who knows? Not this guy.
But his death becomes the uniting force.
The thing they need to avenge.
That's the title.
Cut to credits. But I love the scene where Stark confronts Loki.
Yeah. Yes. Everything about that.
It's fantastic. You know, they're talking. He's like, "We have a Hulk." And then I said earlier that there's another point where Iron Man actually powers Loki, and this was it. Because he gets his new suit. He's like, "Hey, Loki, by the way, boom, fuck you."
Yeah. That Mark 7 deploy was cool the first time.
Well, every Avenger, I think, every Avenger at one point gets a one-up on Loki. Because Black Widow messes with him. She makes him think she's broken when she's playing him. Hawkeye gets him with the explosive arrow.
Yep.
Thor just overpowers him. Hulk. Yeah.
Hulks.
Captain America. No, I don't think does Cap get a one up on Loki?
Yeah. I'm not if there is, I can't place it.
But the scene where the camera circles around all the Avengers.
Well, yeah, big one shot.
is one of the greatest things ever. It just is.
And it's a really long shot, and it showcases what everyone can do in a really cool way.
Oh man.
Oh, sorry. I wanted to mention that this completely didn't get mentioned back in when this came out, but Mark 7 is the first suit that can fly independently of the hands.
Yes.
That's a good change. Why did it take him so long?
Because he's Tony Stark and he's constantly inventing.
Whatever. Anyways, that's a good yeah. But yeah, that one shot, and it's big.
It was awesome. And then Cap gives them all their orders, like, hey, you go do this, you go do this. And Hulk, smash.
The fact that like Hulk stood around, waited for that order.
Well, because that proves right there that he's more in control of the Hulk now than he used to be.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like there's a difference between when he does it deliberately and when it happens against his will.
But oh, dude, the shot where like Black Widow's flying and then Iron Man flies in and starts helping Cap and just transitions through all the Avengers, killing the Chitauri, bro, that was awesome. And then Hulk tries to give Thor a bro punch on the shoulder and just launches him.
It was that meant to be a bro punch? I thought he was just straight up punching him.
No, he was meant to. You know when a friend is like, jabs his bro on the shoulder, like, good job, man. That's what Hulk was trying to do, but he just launched Thor.
I never read it that way.
And if we're gonna talk about Hulk scenes, when Hulk defeats Loki, oh my god, I actually missed the puny god line because my theater was laughing so hard.
I didn't miss it because the theater was laughing, which they were. I missed it because I just couldn't understand. This is another thing I don't like about this Hulk. They altered Mark Ruffalo's voice. I really liked the Lou Ferrigno alteration in 2008. I thought that sounded a lot cooler than the way they altered Mark Ruffalo's voice.
The way he just beats Loki into oblivion is just... And then Loki's out of the fight. He's just done.
That is true.
But, America being America, they're going to just nuke New York. So Tony Stark's like, no.
Yeah, no, this whole thing about S.H.I.E.L.D. deciding to nuke New York before it's evacuated, let's remember this when we get to Civil War, because this is a big deal. I want to talk about freaking collateral damage.
So, yeah. So Tony Stark's like, no, I'm going to just send that nuke through the portal.
Which, thankfully, he repurposed that terrible decision, and, well, that helped.
Yeah, I mean, someone had to. And then Black Widow is actually the one who breaks the portal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Courtesy of mind-controlled Selvig.
It's great that this movie doesn't, like, let's use another crossover movie, for example, Batman vs. Superman, where Batman is very clearly the main character of that movie. Not one of the Avengers is more important than the other. They all have their role to play in this, which I like.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's an insane balancing act, and at the time, I mean, they do something way more impressive later, but the fact that they managed this at this time to this effectiveness it was very well done.
Nowadays you don't get movies that make you feel like this joyous inside anymore, especially not from Marvel. Like, I was going back and watching these old movies, and they just put a smile on my face. Maybe think of when I was younger and happier.
Yes. Beware, the studios are very, very well aware of this nostalgic power.
And Scream 7. Anyway.
Oh, God. Okay. What? Oh, yeah, you already saw it. I'm going to go see it in a few days. No, tomorrow. Well, Mike, what am I talking about?
But the Avengers all go their separate ways. They capture Loki. He's defeated. But the person who sent Loki, the real mastermind behind this movie, is Thanos.
Oh, is that the purple dude with the big wrinkly chin?
Nah, that's the Grimace.
Oh, sorry.
But so everyone thought in Avengers 2 the main villain was going to be Thanos, right? Right?
It's going to be a bit longer.
No, this was not setting up Thanos as the villain of Avengers 2. This was setting up Thanos as the main villain of the MCU.
Yep.
Because up until this point, let's be real, he is the main villain of the MCU. At least for the first 3 sagas.
Very true. Which we now collectively call
the Thanos is the main villain of the Infinity Saga. He
Yep.
is.
There you go. Anyways, in the meantime, let's get shawarma.
Yeah, but oh man, this Avengers one is still fantastic.
Yeah, it's still fun.
One of my go-to comic book movies of all time. Like, if you ask me why I like comic movies, just watch this movie and you'll understand why.
I believe it.
It's one of the greats, I think. And part of why this movie, I think, is so still well remembered is just the fact that it happened, because nobody thought this was possible at the time.
And they were right to think so, because people keep trying and not doing so well.
Justice League, for example. We have never talked about DC on this channel, have we?
No, because the universe ended with no anything. It just stopped.
It never really started properly. But anyway, Cody, what did you think of the Avengers, buddy?
It's always been a fun movie. There's never a time I sat down and thought, "Oh, I regret watching that movie just now."
You can't. Yeah, if you somehow don't like this movie, then you're honestly just a bad person. I'm sorry, you just are. These are just objective facts. But if you've so next up, if you've been following the MCU for this channel, it's another two-parter, which is what, Cody?
Oh, it's gonna be what's that? Iron Man 3 and Thor: The Dark World.
So we will be getting into Phase 2 next time, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you so much for watching this review today. We do appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.